We're live.
We're live.
And today we're going to talk about the funniest and most embarrassing moments in sales or in our business
Yeah.
experience. You want to start or you want me to start?
I'd like you to start.
Well, I'll share a short story, really short.
Okay.
This was one situation. I was new to sales. I mean, we grew up in it, right? You had us in the business early on. But I go up to this gentleman, it was an appointment that I had, and he shows up with his with a younger lady, younger girl, and I said, "Oh, this is your granddaughter," and he says, "No, that's my daughter." And I remember being super embarrassed because, I was calling him old. I just thought, hey, she's super young. I thought it might be his granddaughter. He's like, no, it's me, my daughter.
Oh my God.
So anyways, that was just a short one that I thought was pretty funny looking back now. But when you open your mouth, you can't take back what you say.
No, you can't take it back.
So that was a lesson learned there.
Okay.
How about you?
I'll start with a strange one for me.
Okay.
We were in a marketing event, and a lot of realtors and loan officers and title people would come. It was a meeting, at one of the boards, and I was serving coffee, and you were behind a little window. I came around to the side for a moment because somebody had asked for extra coffee, and they had stepped away because it was like a little line. But everybody was friendly, everybody was cool. And then I had somebody that was helping me from an escrow office. And we give him the coffee, and I pour the coffee, I give it to the lady, and the lady, for some reason, she didn't get, I waited, but she had a grip on it, and then for some reason, she dropped it.
Oof.
After she grabbed the cup, she held it for a few seconds, and I think maybe it was just too hot or something, and she felt, and she drops it on the floor. A mess. Okay, hot coffee on the floor, and the cup was pretty full, and I reacted, and I ended up getting napkins that my partner had brought, and I threw them on the floor, and I started cleaning everything, and there were a couple people that helped me out, and well, it just so happens that those napkins had the name of the company of the lady. And we didn't know each other all that well just yet. And after all was clean, quite a bit of her napkins were taken, because I wasn't the only one. But I was the one that initially grabbed them and threw them on the floor just to get the coffee.
Those were her advertising.
That's her advertising. And when it was all said and done, and I go back to my window, I said, wow, that was, what a mess, huh? And she goes, yes, what a mess. And next time, get your own beep, beep, beep blankets. Napkins, get your own napkins and beep, beep, beep. And why did you beep, beep? Oh, man. I got beat up really good. And I couldn't say I'm sorry enough. I said, look, I apologize. I even thought of, she was a little bit mean. But I did get a good chunk of them and threw them on the floor, just so that people wouldn't slip and fall and get hurt or whatever. And I didn't think about the fact that they were her advertising napkins, and they were beautiful.
Yeah, they were pink.
They
nice,
were
big pink napkins, I remember.
Yeah, with very nice lettering on her, and they were...
So she said, next time, get your own blank napkins.
Yes.
Ooh.
Blank, 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 blank napkins. And I'll never forget it, because you think you're doing something right and correct, and yet somebody else is thinking something totally different,
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. I mean, it's somewhat funny.
Yeah.
Now,
No, that was.
But it must have been embarrassing a little bit, because she called you out.
She did, in private. We were all alone. Everybody was sitting down and listening to.
Yeah.
They were pitching properties and stuff like that, and so she got me all to herself.
Man. Yeah, that's so I have another one that happened to me. This was one that this was just a little embarrassing, kind of funny, but my sister was always working in the office too, and one day, she went to the bathroom. We were always playing pranks on each other, and so it's a family business, so we're playing pranks, and she goes to the bathroom, and as you know, that bathroom in the back, you had to go through a dark room, file cabinet room, to get to that bathroom. So on the way out, I knew that coming out of that dark room would be a perfect chance to scare her and jump out at her. And so I hear her go back to the back bathroom, and I go into the kitchen area that's right outside of that dark room. And so I'm waiting for her. And this was early in the morning. This was like before 9 a.m., before the office opened. And so I'm prepping, and I hear the footsteps coming out of that file cabinet room. And I jump out, and for some reason, I yelled, "Cowabunga!" Like in the Ninja Turtles. And I jumped out at her, and when I jumped out, it was one of your employees.
I remember.
It wasn't my sister.
She was shaking for the rest of the day.
Well, the thing is that I felt very, very bad.
Oh.
She was already a little bit nervous.
She was the fidgety type.
She was a little nervous. And so, but I jumped out and I scared the living daylights out.
Well, you screamed really loud. Cowabunga.
Cowabunga. And I jump in front of her and she goes, "Ah!" Like that. Like it was an elevating scream. Poor thing. And
You're lucky she didn't get a heart attack.
I apologized so many times. I felt so embarrassed because, jumping out at her. But that was pretty funny though.
Oh my God!
It was fun.
I remember.
Yeah, just little pranks.
Yeah, because
like that.
it was the way I heard it later was that the scream kept on going.
Yeah. So yeah, that was another one. But yeah, I mean, I've got a bunch. I have another one where I got locked in the office with a customer. It was like I was new at working at that particular office, and it was a later evening appointment.
Uh-huh.
So the customers show up, let's say at 5:30, but the office closes at 6. So the people in the office, the manager says, "Hey, we're gonna leave you a key. So we're gonna lock everything up, so no one can come in." But I didn't have a key to leave either, because it was one of those. It was one of those where you need a key to open the door from the inside or the outside, right? An office door. And so I finished the meeting with the appointment with the customers, and it's 6:30 or 7 p.m. And I go to the front door, and it's locked, and I don't have a key. And I'm looking everywhere, and I'm calling the manager and everybody looking for a key, and nobody answered because it was after 7. And so I'm locked in there with the customers, and we have no way of getting out. So that happened to me too. Eventually,
I didn't know about this. So what happened?
Eventually, I looked around everywhere, and I realized they had taped an envelope to the office door, the entrance exit door of the building. They had taped an envelope to the door, and in that envelope was the key. But I was kind of nervous, and I didn't see that envelope. They had taped it to the door. And so the whole time, the customers and I are like, "Oh my, how do we get out of here?" And I said, "Don't worry, we'll get out." It was kind of funny, but yeah, that was another one that happened to me.
Oh my God, man!
It's just that in all these different, you're in different situations, and I did a lot of home appointments. I did a lot of meetings where I would go to the customer's house. So for me, I encountered a lot of weird stuff and different things because you're going into a stranger's home.
Right. Oh my God!
But yeah, that was a fun one. How about you? You have any other ones?
I have another one. I mean, we have a lot because we've been doing this forever. But there was one time, I was part of a panel, okay, and I always get there early. I got there early, and for some reason they hadn't finished setting up. So the other guys say, "Hey, can you help us out?" And I'm in my suit and stuff, and I said, yeah, sure. And they wanted me to set the chairs, and so, okay, I start opening chairs and set the chairs and stuff like that. And then we did it for about 10 minutes because we were always there early. And they had set up a very nice looking table um, with, brochures and pins and like keychains and stuff like that. We could put all our marketing stuff and then go to the panel. And then a lady comes in and says, what are you going to present on? And I told her, and she starts asking me questions. And I just leaned a little bit against the table. And whoever has set the table, because they were late, I guess they hadn't opened the legs enough.
Oh.
All I did was lean a little bit. Sure, let me tell you about it. And then all of a sudden I hear, bah! It fell over.
All the brochures.
Oh my God, Mike. And it made a huge noise. And everything went flying. There were pens, brochures, keychains, some other little nick and, and they hadn't opened. And and by that time, more people had gotten there. And, I'm right here in shock. Everything a huge mess. And everybody looked at me and I'm going, I'm sorry. I'll pick it all up.
Oh,
and everybody started laughing. Thank God. And one of the guys that had most of the stuff there, he says, hey, don't worry about it. Look, that's good luck. And they really took it well. And
because it was in front of everybody.
In front of everybody. It was still early,
yeah.
But the table went flying and everything else on it. And I was so embarrassed.
Yeah.
Oh my God, man. I just leaned a little bit again. I think it would have fallen no matter what.
Yeah.
I just happened to be the person that got there, and oh my God, it was so embarrassing. And of course, afterwards, we would get together again, and my buddies would say, watch out where you're leaning.
Yeah.
Where are you going? Where are you going? Let's put the table on the other side. Where are you sitting this time? Over here. Let's put. And it became always. But anyway, it was cool.
Yeah, that's funny.
They took it well because it could have been.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's in these settings of business. You want to be professional, but things happen, and sometimes you're goofing around and you can just laugh it off.
Yeah. I've got another one.
Yeah.
There was another time where we went to this real estate company, and they had like 300 agents. It was huge. And so I got there first, and I had my little area where I would put my brochures and stuff like that, and I put my business cards. And then I walk around, say hello to people, and then come back, and I just happened to look, and my business cards were gone. Okay? And my brochures were way back at the end, behind somebody's, nobody could see it. So then I go, huh. So I got the brochures, put them back out. Of course, I had more business cards, put them down, went to say hello to somebody else. And then I started walking by it again, and again, the brochures were gone, way to the back. And all the business cards gone. And now I'm thinking, oh man, this is not cool,
Yeah.
This is not fair fighting kind of thing, So then I got my brochures back out. This is the third time or something. I put my business cards and I go to say hello to people, but I keep an eye out, I keep an eye out. And, I got distracted again. And then, whatever. Oh, I took my eyes off of that. Let me go see again. And sure enough.
No way.
The brochures, everything were back. And I go, okay. So then now I'm really upset, right? And then I put it back out, put my business cards again. And then I went and sat strategically in a corner, And I would say hi to people. But, man, I didn't take my eyes off that. It wasn't a table. It was like shelving. It was a permanent shelving, and they had storage underneath and stuff like that. And then I see a buddy of mine. He was always joking around, okay? And he was from either Tidal or Disclosure Company. And he was my buddy. And he came and he looked around, And he goes, and I could tell he was doing it for fun.
Yeah.
And he put the brochures back,
Oh, man.
and then so I knew who he was.
Yeah, he was messing with you.
Messing with me. So what I ended up doing was I got his stuff and put it way to the back and put mine out. And when he went back again, he saw that his stuff. He knew it was me.
Yeah.
But it was a lot of fun. We joked about it later on. Hey, what do you think you're doing? And it was a lot of fun. But initially,
yeah, because you had I know you shared other experiences where one of your competitors would hide your brochure.
That's right.
So,
and that was on purpose.
Yeah, there's an entrance table. Everybody comes in, has to pass that table, and this person would move your stuff or take your things.
That's right.
And put theirs in the front.
That's right.
So I think that's why you kind of probably had some
it's a
residual
dog
world.
Dog world out there.
Yeah.
But that was really funny because I realized that
messy.
he meant it from, he was just messing with me. He was my buddy. And he was cracking up because he would see me go to the table and go, what's going on? Again?
Funny.
And I think he did it to me 2 times. And then on the 3rd time, that's when I said, I'm going to watch. And then I didn't let anybody... people come up to you and ask you questions and you get distracted.
Yeah. I remember one time, your look is very important. At least it was for me. So I always had to have a suit. I always had a coat, a sports coat, dress pants, dress shoes, all that thing. And I remember I had this one appointment that was in the city of Fontana, but at the time there was some sort of heavy winds going through there. And I don't know if they were like 40-mile-an-hour winds or I don't know, heavy over there. And since it's like open inland empire, I guess it's considered, I think. Uh-huh. It's open area, the winds really go through those neighborhoods. And so I show up to this property, to this appointment. It's at their home. And I get there and the winds are blowing. I mean, I remember I was at the gas station filling up first. And I would see, trash going
and tumbleweeds.
Everywhere. Yeah. So I pull up to this property and my car, it was a, little Jetta. It wasn't, it was able to get through the winds, but you could feel it on the freeway. So I get there and all of the trash cans on the street are thrown everywhere. I mean, all of the trash cans, I don't know if it was trash day the day before or whatever. So they were all falling over and I mean, some were far away, rolling. And I was like, wow, these are really heavy winds. There's like nothing in front of these houses. Everything will get blown away. So anyways, I get down and it's important how I look and everything. So I always have to put my sports coat on. And so I get out of my car and I go to open the back seat because I had the sports coat on a hanger. I open the back door and it's even hard to open the door. I pull out my sports coat and it's like flying away like a kite. So I'm holding on to it super hard. And I managed to put one arm in.
Oh my God.
Because the winds were blowing so much.
I can picture it.
Yeah. The winds were blowing so much that I couldn't there was no way to get the other arm in. I mean, if you're only listening, it's probably hard to visualize. But basically, it was flying like a kite. And so I had one arm in, and I'm parked right in front of the customer's house. And I'm thinking, I am supposed to be looking professional and, I'm going to talk about money and finance and life insurance. And how are these guys going to trust me? I can't even put my coat on. Anyways, after, who knows, I was probably out there 5 minutes.
5 minutes trying to...
That's what it felt like. I was on, and I finally get my other arm in, and then I get to the front. But it was hilarious at the time. I was just like, it was embarrassing because I was thinking if they are watching me.
Did you ever find out if they were watching you?
I don't think they were. Yeah, it was. But they were nice. They were young. They were a young couple, and I don't think it was that big of a deal. In my head, I was thinking, oh, yeah, this is a.
So you don't think you never asked?
I don't think they were. No, I never.
Because that must have been. They.
Now I would probably bring it up. Make a joke of it, but. Back then, I was a little bit more serious and trying to be professional. It was funny. It was so funny.
It kind of reminds me like one of those movies of Charlie Chaplin or something like that,
Yeah,
where he's trying
or
to,
like the
you know,
Pink Panther or
oh
something
my
like that.
God, man.
Yeah.
Oh, it must have been something else. Yeah, and those winds are strong sometimes in that area.
Oh yeah.
And you have
Oh,
a
I could
sports
have
car.
lost the coat.
Oh yeah, it would have gone.
Yeah, it would have been blown away, and you never catch that thing.
Oh, you never get.
No, but
And you.
with one arm in and the coat's flapping in the wind.
Can you imagine? That's gotta be difficult.
Oh my gosh.
That takes some doing.
Oh yeah. But those are there's look, we thought, hey, we'd share some of our funny experiences, in business and in sales and interacting with different people. We'll make maybe another one where we share some of the like the strangest things that have happened to us.
Well, I have one last one. If
Yeah. Sure.
I remember, this is a long time ago. Okay, maybe even 30 years ago, 29 years ago. A buddy of mine and I, we were looking at property, and it was this property that looked really, really nice, and the price didn't seem to match the neighborhood and how nice the property looked. And the property was abandoned, and it had a 6-foot block wall, and we couldn't get to the back, and we just peeking through the windows. And he says, hey, listen, I think this property is really big. I don't know why it's so priced so low. I'm going to jump the fence, the block wall. I'm going to jump the block wall. And I looked at it, and it's 6-foot wall. And I said, his name was Hal. I said, you sure you want to do that? Yeah. I'm going to jump it. And I go, okay, I'll jump it right after you. So he was taller than me. He jumps the fence, and I said, okay, you're good? Yeah, I'm good. Come on over. So I start, I take a big leap, and I grab it, and I go over, and just as I land, I see him running towards me, like if his life depended on it. And he goes, jump back. And I mean, he had fear in his eyes, okay? And I didn't ask any questions. I had just landed, and I go, oh my God. So I turned around, and I leaped back up again and jumped over again. And then he jumped again, and I go, what's going on? And he goes, there was a huge Doberman on the other side. The house is not abandoned.
Oh.
It's got to be. And later on, we found out it was the wrong address by one number, by one digit.
Oh my God.
But it looked abandoned. And the thing that saved him and me is that the Doberman was sleeping on the other side of the pool, and for some reason the pool was without water.
Oh.
But no matter what, he had to come running around.
Yeah.
But when my buddy landed on the other side, apparently he woke him.
Mm.
But he was still like in a slumber, and he just raised his head. But then when he came around the corner and the dog saw him, he goes, ah, and he came after him. And I had just landed on the other side. And I thought, I've always thought, what would have happened if that guy would have got us?
Oh, yeah.
That's a
like
scary
in the
thought.
movies.
Yeah, that's a scary thought.
So you never saw the dog?
I never saw the dog.
You just
But according to my buddy, it was one of those, black, muscular Dobermans with his ears,
yeah.
cut, and he's just an animal, right? And I never saw the dog, but
Did you ever jump another fence after that?
I was very careful.
Yeah.
I was very careful because I had another buddy that went into a vacant home, and apparently there was a straggler that had broken a window and was sleeping there, and he felt that he didn't hear him come in, and he thought that he was going to get hurt, and he stabbed my friend. And created actually a pneumothorax. And it was he became a victim of a violent crime. And back then, if you were a victim of a violent crime, I don't know what the rules are now, but back then, everything, medically speaking, was taken care of in terms of cost by the state.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and
What years? What year is this?
we're talking 24 years back,
Oh wow.
25. And it was a homeless gentleman. He broke through the window. He went into the property, and that's why nowadays when I open the front door, I say hello at the top of my lungs. I look crazy and sound it maybe, and I say I'm coming in. Anybody in here? At the top of my lungs.
Yeah.
So my clients, I warned them ahead of time. Look, this is for security's sake, and I tell them. A buddy of mine one time got hurt. I don't go into the details because you don't want to scare. But one time there was somebody sleeping in the property, and they felt that threatened. Yeah, and I don't go into the details of the story, but I'm very, very careful. Very careful when I go into a home, knocking.
You have to be, yeah.
You have to be.
Yeah.
You just don't know what's on the other side. And he got stabbed, and his lung collapsed, and immediately it was, he felt he couldn't breathe properly, and it's a mess. And the guy took off and just left him there.
Jeez.
So
is he still alive?
Oh yeah. He made a full recovery.
Oh wow.
Yeah, full recovery, and he kept doing it. But now he was much more careful.
Sure.
Much more careful. When you encounter...
Or go with somebody else. Don't go alone,
Exactly. Especially, well, everybody, but ladies.
Yeah.
Don't make appointments, at 7 o'clock at night with somebody you don't know because they want to see a house.
Yes.
You definitely go alone. There were a lot of security measures implemented in all the places that I've worked.
Yeah. I think about that looking back now because I was... I say 23, 24, 25, very young, and going to people's homes, And some of these homes were late. The appointment was after work for them, so it was after 6 o'clock. And some of the neighborhoods were rough. I remember driving into some very rough areas.
Yeah.
And and so I think sometimes that I had like a guardian angel.
I think so too.
Because I remember one time. This was deep into LA. I wouldn't be able to tell you what part right now. It was like a 6:30, 7 o'clock appointment. It was already getting darker early because it wasn't a summer. And there was no parking on the street of this property. And so I had to park like 2 blocks away and walk it. And I remember after I left that appointment, I ran home. I ran to my car.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because I didn't know the area or anything, and I probably looked even more. I was
suspicious.
Probably more what is it?
Target.
A target, but I didn't know, and I got out of there and I went running back to my car. But situations like that, you know,
your car was still there.
My car, it was still there. But so, I think looking back, I was very careful. I would tell people where I was gonna be. So like I would share with my girlfriend at the time, or with somebody, or with the person who helped set that appointment, where I was gonna be at that time. I tried to do that. But if I can imagine for anyone, it could be a young man, young woman. You're going to these appointments by yourself. It could be dangerous.
Oh, absolutely.
I remember one time, John. I remember John. We had a meeting at the office, and he saw that I had a pocket knife in my dress pants. Along the side of my dress pants, I had one of these, and he's like, "You wear that, every day or something?" And I said, "Yeah, I wear it for every appointment. I wear it every day. Like you never know. You have a pocket knife on you." I remember you gave me this one, and probably because I started going to late appointments and things like that. But he would also wear a pocket knife. I think when he was younger and going into really rough neighborhoods also, and he was also in insurance. And he would go do appointments, and he stood out like a sore thumb in these neighborhoods. And so I think he also wore one. I think that's why it caught him off guard that I was wearing one with dress pants.
Interesting, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to be careful. I mean, we veered off of the funny...
I know the funny thing.
but safety is really important also.
It really is at all times, especially nowadays. You know,
Yeah.
it's always been, I think, but now maybe nowadays even worse. You know.
But I think going back to wrapping it up about, I think one thing that's helped me in business is not taking myself too seriously. So when something like this happened, a funny situation, an embarrassing situation, we could laugh it off, and it wasn't the end of the world. It was
Right.
just, it was in good fun. Yeah, I looked silly, whatever. I mean, I've done a bunch of silly things, but you don't
Don't
take
take
yourself.
yourself too seriously.
No, you just roll with the punches.
That's a
roll
good
with it.
message to send out there. It's
Yeah.
true. Life is short, and yeah,
Nothing's perfect.
no, nothing is. In fact, I have a buddy of mine that one of his sayings always was, "Hey, you know what? It's not perfect, but it's very good. Let's move on."
Yeah.
Because if you wait for perfection, you may never pull the trigger, and then you'll never do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, get it done.
We'll wrap it up with that.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.